Welcome to Impact OC, the only program showcasing the people and organizations shaping Orange County. With your host, Don Camber.
Hello, live from the OC Talk Radio studios at UCI's Beal Applied Innovation Center. I'm OC Talk Radio Public Affairs Director Don Camber with another great guest positively impacting our community. Today, I welcome the Dayle McIntosh Center Housing Liaison, Marisol Johnson. The United Way OC recognized her among the 2024 Unsung Heroes of the Year for her hardworking heart, dedicated to fighting the homelessness crisis with her tireless work in the community. Celebrating 47 years as Orange County's only independent living center, the mission of the Dayle McIntosh Center, also called DMC, is access and equity by and for people with disabilities and older adults. The organization was founded on advocacy for accessibility in 1977 and has been serving a growing population. Thank you, Marisol, for being on Impact OC.
Thank you, Don, for having me.
Marisol, I understand the DMC partners with people with disabilities and older adults to address their current concerns and basic independence living needs to achieve personal goals toward maximum independence. Please explain the kinds of disabilities people have that the DMC helps with accessibility and how your programs and services benefit the community, individuals, and families coping with the impact of a newly acquired disability.
Thank you, Don. We actually service all types of disabilities. We have different departments that sometimes specialize in a particular disability. And we have multiple services. We have so many services available that includes from age 14 to 24. That would be the youth group, where their goal is to teach young adults how to transition into adulthood. So learning independent living skills. We also have the Aging and Disability Resource Connection, the ADRC, where we also focus more on seniors 60 plus. And there's so many different departments in between those. One of the departments that I have my heart is housing. So for housing, we have different services that we offer. So anyone that wants to learn more about housing, we do have a housing workshops. We have 3 of them in total. We have 2 per month. The first one is how to be document ready. Because with housing, it's pretty much, let's say there is a affordable unit available, the landlord will send a notice to maybe 10 different people. And whoever turns the application with all the documents ready, they get the unit. So it's very important to be document ready. We also have budgeting for housing, where we want you to maintain your housing, not only find your housing, but maintain it. So learning how to increase your income, decrease your expenses, and how to go about that. We also have the housing options workshop, where you learn about different housing opportunities in Orange County that you could apply for. One of the things that I'm very happy that we are actually partnering up with Cat Ultima, where we actually help individuals that are Cat Ultima members move into either a room to rent or a affordable housing unit or a market rate apartment. And we help them with the deposit, the first month's rent, even if they need help putting their things in boxes and movers, we help with that. A lot of the people that we help are unhoused, so a lot of them don't have furniture. They don't have nothing at all. So we also help with that. And then one of the things that I'm working on right now is the community initiative program, where I try my best to teach housing providers how to be more disability friendly and inclusive, because our goal is to teach everyone in Orange County how to make their services inclusive and disability friendly so they could help more the disabled community.
What types of disabilities are we talking about?
We're talking about everything. We don't ever turn anyone away. If they disclose that they have a disability, we'll work with them. We'll try our best to assist them in any way we can. If we notice that an individual needs more hands-on assistance, then we know that there's an organization in Orange County that could best assist them. We direct them to them. We refer them out because we acknowledge that sometimes we could help and sometimes we can't, and then somebody needs additional support. If there's somebody else that could do it, oh good. Like, we just want those individuals to get help.
Can you explain the kinds of disabilities people have?
Yeah. So, for example, we do have Aging with Vision Loss programs. So those are for individuals that have vision loss. So our goal is to, when we have a consumer come in, we do an assessment and we see what kind of services they need. So if somebody has vision loss, then we say, okay, what areas are you having difficulty in? Sometimes they don't know, or sometimes they'll tell you, oh, I have a hard time doing this and that. Sometimes we ask them questions so that they acknowledge. And then there's sometimes where I used to be an instructor, I would always tell them, okay, when you're at home, if you're doing something, if you have a hard time doing it, let me know. And I could teach you how to do it maybe easier or faster, whatever you want. But our goal is to teach them adaptive techniques, like doing it differently. Or teach them about adaptive devices that could help them. We do have a department where we have my coworkers teach individuals how to use the devices. Or let's say if they want to learn how to use a program, like how to use their computer on their own, we do have training that people learn how to use JAWS or whatever program it makes it easier for them.
And you're talking about people who have physical disabilities and or mental disabilities.
We do cross disability, so we do work with people that have like mental disability if they disclose it. We have people that have physical disabilities, and again, it's more about like teaching them how to use adaptive techniques or devices based on their disability. So, for example, I used to have an excessive cooking class, like learning how to cook no matter what disability you have. So I would say, okay, tips if you have memory loss. This is what you could do if you want to cook if you have memory loss. You know, put a timer on your phone. Remember that you're still cooking, right? Because then you don't want your food to get burned. Or like for people that have learning disability, not giving them like a very complicated recipe, making it simple, having pictures of what the steps are. So it's a little bit of everything. We just kind of adapt to
adapt to whatever disability so that they can just live a life like other people.
Yes.
And you have a lot of success stories?
Oh, yes.
Why don't you share some? Yeah,
of course. So there was one that really touched my heart. I'm going to go back to when I was the housing coordinator. There was an individual that he was unhoused. He had a machine that he needed for medical purposes. And he told me, he's like, my only wish is to find a place on my own. And then I'm going to live the rest of my life there. I'm not going to create new problems. I'm going to pay my rent on time. I'm going to be the perfect tenant. And so we were so lucky. We were able to find him a place to live, and he moved in. And then he wrote me a poem. I myself have a bad memory, so I can't really say it all. But in the poem, like, it really touched me because he was like about not believing in angels, but because of me, he does believe that there's angels in the world. And it made me just cry because if anyone has worked with like in the housing department, it can be very challenging because there's not a lot of resources out there. There's not a lot of money. And there's so much need for people to find their housing. The thing that broke me with this consumer is that he actually passed away. I want to say when in like 5 months of moving into his apartment, and he told me that his goal was to find a house, a place to live, so he could die in his home. So it actually happened. So it was very heartbreaking because he was a wonderful man. Like, a lot of people that I connect with in regards to housing, they're wonderful people. They just, something happens that don't allow them to pay rent and they get behind. A lot of Americans they're living paycheck by paycheck, you know? So I think that's my favorite one, because if they happen and he did make his dream come true of leaving, going past to be with God when he has a home.
So do you help them find jobs?
We used to, not no more. I know when I was the independent living instructor, like I would do like mock interviews and I would help them, but we usually redirect that to like the Department of Rehab, so they will be able to help.
With the growing senior population, talk about the Aging and Disability Resource Connection.
Yeah, it's such a great program. So it's pretty much anyone that is 60 years and older. Is you call in if you need any kind of resources, we'll help you. If you need any kind of devices, they'll help. So we have some, like, that department, we have Esme and Fernando. So pretty much anyone that it's a senior, they could call us, and they need any kind of services, will help them or provide them resources.
What are we talking about?
So we're talking about, let's say somebody needs a shower share, and we have it, we'll provide it to them. We're talking about, they also do modifications, which is also connected. So pretty much we have a department where if you want a unit to be modified to be accessible, either it will go to Esme or Fernando so they could modify the unit, or it will go to Anna Ivan so that they can modify, depending on the funding, and then if they're seniors.
Talk about community transitions.
Yeah, so community transition, I actually used to do that department too. I've been at DMC for a long time, so I have experience in different departments. So for transitional services, what our goal is to remove somebody that is in the skilled facility for 90 days or more back into the community. So they do need to be 18 years or 18 to 61 years old for them to qualify. And our goal is to help them apply for a NED voucher. That's pretty much for non-elderly voucher, where we work with the Orange County Housing Authority, and we work together for them to get the voucher, and then with the voucher they only pay 30% of the rent, and then we look for we help look for the apartment, we furnish our apartment, we make sure that if the individual needs any kind of health assistance, that we get them with like a nurse, or if they say they need a caregiver, we assist with that. We also make sure the unit is accessible to meet their needs. We set up transportation, like for them to make sure they go to their doctor's appointments or go from the nursing home to their new apartment. So it's a very great program.
So the whole point is people with disabilities to live independently, and you do your best to make it happen.
Correct. That's the goal.
And then you may make the home adaptive to whatever their disability is.
Yes.
Give us some examples of how you're able to do that.
So we do have funding. One of them is with Cal Altima, and then Dignity at Home as well. So our goal is when somebody comes to us and they need some kind of modification, we do like an assessment of what they need. A lot of that it has to do with a lot of experience. So like, for example, when somebody comes and they have a certain disability, we already know how their unit should be, and then we try to make that happen. Sometimes an individual has multiple disabilities, so there's going to be multiple modifications in the unit. So again, it's more about like assessing what the individual needs.
Can you give us an example of someone in that situation?
Yes. So for example, if somebody uses a wheelchair, we could install a roll-in shower. So remove the existing shower and then like put one where somebody could just like go into the shower without having the barrier of a bathtub, not having to step over that little bathtub wall.
And then, of course, the kitchen is adapted to them.
We do try our best. I know we do have a limited funding on that. There's certain situations where, like, for example, like maybe something needs to be lowered down or wheelchair accessible where you could actually put your wheelchair under the counter. For me, I have more experience in regards to the bathroom area because that's where we get more requests.
What are the requirements for someone to get services from you?
They have a disability. We service individuals that are 14 years until wherever. So they do have to be in Orange County. We do have workshops. The workshops anyone could attend, even LA. So pretty much you have to have a disability.
What is the majority of the kind of disabilities that people have?
That's hard. I don't know. I think we get a little bit of everything.
Majority of them in wheelchairs, per se. They have mental disabilities. They have multiple disabilities offhand.
I want to say there's people that have multiple disabilities because a lot of the disability are hidden. So I want to say multiple disability.
And are these people born with a disability, or do they acquire them through maybe an accident or a disease caused them to get a disability?
We get a little bit of everything. We have people that were born with a disability, and then there's people that acquire it during their lives. So somebody could become disabled at any time in their lives. You could go to the store, you could get into a car accident. You could go to work and fall from a ladder and get traumatic brain injury. So you could get disability any time in your life. Also, like you can become diabetic. A lot of people don't know that being diabetic is actually having a disability. So you could acquire it anytime. And that's why like I always encourage people like, hey, even if you don't think a law or a policy does not affect you, think about it in the long term because we're all getting older. I know that as we age, our vision is not going to be that great. Our hearing is not going to be that great. So those laws that are going to be passing could affect you in the future. So I do encourage anyone that if there's a law out there, this is the advocacy in me, is that please work for things that will help people with disabilities. Because again, you could get one anytime. Also, you might know somebody that has a disability, and they might just not disclose it to you.
How can people help you? You were saying before we came to air that there's volunteer opportunities.
Yes, so we have a volunteer department. It's run by Stephanie, and she's doing such a great job. We already have some volunteers assisting us. But if you are interested in making a difference in the community and the disabled community, please connect with us because we are looking for volunteers. We will be happy to hear from you. You could actually go to Dayle.org. That's DAYLEMC.org. Or you could call 714-621-3300. That's 714-621-3300. And let them know you want to volunteer. Even if you want any other services, what happens is that the receptionist will call you and will talk to you, and they would ask you questions. They would ask you, what is the main primary service that you want? And what happens is that when she will ask, goes down through every department, and you can mark everything that you want help with. And then we get an email saying, hey, this person's looking for your help. And then we connect with you within 5 business days. Also, if you want to become a volunteer.
Thank you, Dayle McIntosh Center Housing Liaison Marisol Johnson, for being on Impact OC. And I thank everyone for tuning in. I'm OC Talk Radio Public Affairs Director Dawn Camber. Have an impactful day.
You've been listening to Impact OC, the only program showcasing the people and organizations shaping our community. Right here on Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio.